Hello and welcome back to another panel discussion from New Catholic Generation discussing all of the Christian movies that are coming out this year. We have finally seen the movie that we've talked about twice now on this channel, and actually the very first video we did on this channel, specifically produced, Catholics React to the God's Not Dead 2 trailer. It's our most viewed video, and we've gotten a lot of comments from people who liked the first one, they're fans of the franchise, and they wanted to know what we actually thought of the movie, not just the trailer. So all four of us have seen it.
I think in the comments they're like, go see it and review it. We're like, fine.
I know.
And then Ned finally messages back last, like 4 days later.
Fine, I'll go, okay?
Yeah, so we all I got in the movie for $7.50, by the way, instead of $9. So.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Actually, that's interesting. So we were going to all try to go see it together. Renee was unable to because she's on the softball team. How many people were in the theater when you went, Renee?
I was joking to my friend, like, oh, it'll probably just be us and maybe a few old ladies. We walked in, there were 2 old ladies and nobody else.
When Ned, Joe, and I went together, we were the only ones there.
Oh,
we got a free comment range. It really was fantastic.
Oh, wow, that sounds fun.
I loved
like,
it. Loved it.
Shouting at the screen.
Honestly,
all
I
fun, yeah.
assumed the old ladies couldn't hear us anyway, so we were still talking.
Wow. Well, that's good.
All right, so general impressions?
Wow, speechless already.
Hey, I found some positive things. I did. But, no. I like the Young Messiah better. Like,
Joe.
I had never seen the first movie. I didn't really know what to expect. But
It's okay.
Yeah, Joe. The filmography, what do you want to call that?
Production values.
Production was good.
Cinematography.
The acting was really good. They had some really good actors in there, you know.
I have to say my overall opinion was disappointing. Very disappointing.
See, the funny thing is, I went with Ned to go see this movie, and he was not this calm and collected right after walking out of the theater. We have a short clip for you.
Ned has just seen God's Not Dead 2.
Yes, I did. And the movie was an awful abomination, an awful representation of what Christianity is about, and I just hurt my hand.
Ned's not dead. He's surely survived. He's living on the outside, but I don't know about on the inside.
I'm dead. I am certainly not living on the inside. Oh my freaking goodness. Oh, okay.
Are you done?
God's not Ned. God's not Ned, Ned. God's not dead. God's not dead, Ned.
It was truly glorious.
I totally forgot I acted like that. Maybe it's a good thing.
I will say, I think out of everybody, I had the least negative reaction to the movie because my expectations were met. I had seen the first movie, I knew what to expect going in, and so it was sort of,
I guess.
all right. And there were a few things they improved on since the first movie.
Oh, like what? Oh,
Like they hired a helicopter to get all those sweet aerial shots. Every single scene opens up with a helicopter shot of either the school or the courthouse. I was like, all right, this is their transition scene. We got a helicopter, guys. They increased the budget from $2 million in the first one to $5 million.
Oh.
For the second one?
Yeah, for the second one.
Well, that is rather
budget
impressive.
here.
Yeah.
Well, that was a little bit impressive. Yeah.
Although there was one scene where Grace and the student are initially talking, where Grace is talking about her testimony with God, and there was some sort of big road that was very loud right next to them beyond the hedges where they were filming, and they noise reduced the heck out of that scene, and I really noticed it. Did any of you all notice that?
I noticed that.
No, full disclosure, we have to audio reduce a lot of noise out of the background in some of our videos, but that's because we often have to film in conditions that are less than ideal.
Oh, yes.
For a big budget movie, to have really blatant noise reduction just felt a little cheap to me.
I want to ask you this, okay? When they had the newscaster coming up on the screen, did the background annoy the heck out of you?
What was
They had one where they were in interviewing somebody else to the side, and I'm like, that one looks normal because the background is real.
Yeah.
The other one, I was like, you can see the outline around this chick.
It was just like bad lighting.
Yeah.
Yeah, bad
it was.
And just over melodramatic acting because that
And she
particular news
looked really,
anchor.
she was really nasty too. She's like, those Christians, like blatantly in Southern television. I'm like, never.
So,
Please fail.
my general impressions. I went into this movie expecting to like it more than I did. I thought that I would have some problems with a lot of the things we've heard about the first one that I kind of expressed in our reaction to the trailer. But I really was extremely, extremely disappointed. I am not as much of a film critic as Ned is here. I thought that I could go into this and not notice some of the technical details they might have missed or story plot or how they worded things. I noticed a ton of different things where I was writing them all down and eventually I was just like, I give up. I can't keep doing this. I'm going to fill up this notebook and I need it for school.
Maybe they have a time
I'm the
crunch.
exact same thing.
Did you guys have any positives about the movie?
Sure.
All right, we're pulling out all the lists.
I feel like we went away. Like, it just flew away. Nope. It took so long. I was like, you're gonna not say anything.
Who wants to go first?
All right,
You want to go
actually,
first?
if you don't mind.
No, go,
okay.
please.
All right, I'll go
for you in the
first.
first place.
Okay, I'll go first. So, people of the interwebs.
That's my line.
Well, did you copyright it? That's what I thought. No.
Trademark.
Thought you were a Christian. That's why.
I
I'm just
see
kidding.
we put in a little plus and negatives.
I see. I
Oh,
put.
cool. Okay.
See,
Got little crosses and like
Yeah.
minus signs.
I have a few.
All right, let's get through it.
All right, so okay, I will start with my positives of the movie. Okay, I will agree that the cinematography was actually impressive in some places. I actually really did enjoy some of the shots. They were nice and enjoyable. I'm just like, okay, well, it's not like amazing, but it was good. It was good.
Yeah, at the beginning I was like, oh, this might be good.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
It was competently produced. I definitely
Yeah.
saw a step up in the production values
Yes.
from the first one.
There were a few, even though they might have not been the best acted scenes or anything like that, there were a few touching moments when Sabrina the teenage teacher was praying and stuff.
I have that on my team.
Yes, yeah, exactly, and those were touching, and I did enjoy it. Yeah, it might have been the best acting, but they were touching. They were touching. Honestly, you guys can disagree with me on this or not, but honestly, I thought the film would have been far stronger if they went with the story of the lady who was cured of cancer. I actually really liked that character.
I was like, when is she going to become relevant?
Oh, yeah,
Like,
yeah,
halfway
Yeah,
through.
I really enjoyed her
Her
character.
story
and
was, yeah.
It was intriguing, and honestly, out of all the actors in the movie, I honestly liked her acting. I thought she was like pretty good. I'm just like, why can't we just follow her story?
I know. I wish they had delved into it more because she was the most complex character of the whole one. Because she was the only one who wasn't like black and white on one side or the other.
Exactly.
She
Yes.
wasn't sure what to do, and she was searching for answers. She was trying to
Exactly.
search for truth. I was like,
So
wow,
true.
and it's really cool when she sets up the blog, and then they never expanded.
Yeah,
the
they
blog.
kind
Yeah.
of just like left it hanging and then went with this other stuff that.
She made a blog.
She's going to be a major player in God's Not Dead 3. They're setting up for the God's Not Dead cinematic universe. She's going to get
Yeah.
origin stories, and they're going to get,
Exactly.
all the
That's
prequels,
cool.
the sequels.
Wow.
Yeah.
God's Not Dead, Trinity War, Part 2.
Oh my god. I please no, please. There's only so much money I can spend to go hate on the movie. I'm just kidding. I didn't
We should
hate
go
the
see
movie.
a
but-
movie of just a fun movie sometime.
Yeah, I agree. All
Before
right.
we stopped going to movies altogether because we're just like, every time we go.
Right. One other moment I really did like. By the way, guys, I know the character has a completely different name, but I'm just calling her Sabrina the Teenage Teacher just because,
I like it.
just because of fun reasons. Sabrina the Teenage Teacher. When she is talking to, I think it's her father, and this is like after like she's just lost all hope basically, and her students all come and they sing to her at the they come sing to her at her doorstep and everything. I'm like, okay, fine, you hit the soft side of my feelings of this movie. Okay, I really did enjoy that moment.
Beautiful singing.
And like a few like other moments and stuff like that, which I thought were. I like the new Newsboy song.
Oh yeah, I was like, here comes the song again. But then there was another one. I was like,
I really liked it. I'm just like, guys, step up. I like it. 5 seconds later, though, and this is going to lead into my negatives for the film.
yeah, this is the one positive on that.
This led into it. Then the old Newsboys song came up, and I'm just like, I hate this song. I hate. I don't mean to use the word hate, but I just don't like it. It's just bad. I'm sorry. I just don't like it.
It's okay. We'll get to your negatives.
I had one more positive.
Okay, yeah.
I really liked the scene where the Chinese immigrant, his character student, he's in the church. I think
I'm like, don't mind.
Yes.
No, I really like the piano scene as a pianist because I thought it was really cool where they had a piano song playing in the background as the soundtrack, and then they zoom in on him looking at the piano, and then he goes up and he starts playing a few notes as a duet to the soundtrack. That's something I've never seen before, and I thought it was a really cool filmmaking, sound design thing.
Was very unique.
And him singing the song with the other girl as well, I thought was really well done.
Yes.
Yeah, with the Asian man, I really liked how he walked up and he's like, I have a lot of questions. And the pastor's like, okay. He's like, how many? Like, and I don't know. But at one point it was like 176 was mentioned or something. And I was like, that's a lot of questions. But then it like reminded me of all the messages that we'll get like on YouTube and Facebook and stuff. And like how I'm like, I never have time for this. But this pastor's like, okay, let's go. And he established a friendship with this guy. And I was like, because that's the way to the heart is like through friendship, love, and generosity of time. And I was like, and that's how to properly like go about, telling someone the truth about life and God. So I liked that a lot.
I will say this though, I really disliked the pastor. For the same reason in the first movie I didn't like him. I thought, well, not only was he just a bad actor, but
he's one of the producers of the film.
His character was very bland, and the only time when he actually just starts getting involved is when he hears a Bible verse. Other than that, he just hates everything.
It's interesting because he's the one Christian character in the movie who's not this bubbly, optimistic, happy-go-lucky person.
It's just like everything bad happens to him, and he's the grumpy pat. I mean, yeah, he does become a little like happy and stuff afterwards, but it's only after he hears a Bible
and
verse.
And he's like looking at the TV going.
I just at the very beginning when the guy was just having all these bad things happening to him, I was just like, offer it up, dude. Offer it up.
Funny, we were all in the theater at the beginning, and he's just like having all these things happen to him. And we're like, his life is basically # first world problems.
That was pretty funny.
Himself or whatever.
That was funny. Yes.
Offer it up.
Yes.
Offer it up.
All right. Now, if you guys don't mind, I'm actually going to get into the big reason why I really did not like the movie.
All right, let's go.
Okay. The main issue I had with this film, and this is the same reason that issue I had with the first film, was its portrayal of the atheists. And the thing is, the argument can be made of like, oh, no, we had one good atheist in the movie, and he's the lawyer and whatnot, but the thing is, his character was just not developed or like good enough to have like an impact on me to say like, oh, we don't mind atheists, we think they're okay. It's because all the other atheists in the movie are so, I wrote down supervillain atheists. They are literally supervillain atheists.
It's like, I hate people like you.
I hate what people like your clients stand for.
Exactly.
I was like,
he was just like, I remember there
ruin
was
society for the rest of us.
You
I was like,
pretty good impression of that.
that was very
Dude, and all the other, like, the villain atheist lawyer, all his creepy smiles.
Yeah, there was one.
Oh my gosh.
This is one of the things I hated.
grins.
That was
He was just like the one bad thing like happens like to the Sabrina the Teenage Teacher, and he just goes like, and I'm just like, oh, dude, you're giving the Joker a run for his money. It was just creepy.
That actor did play Satan in that one TV show called what was it, Lucifer?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
Oh,
so that was funny. So it's like they use Satan in movies.
Okay, but the problem I have with that is that it's not realistic. No one. I know this is supposed to be dramatic and everything, but it's when you're trying to make a movie to try and talk about the problems with our country when it deals with faith, you have to make it as realistic and home-hitting as possible. This did not hit home because I did not believe a single thing in this. I did not believe it at all.
What was I telling you guys during the actual movie? I was like, I could have set up we all could have set up better arguments for both sides, because
Yeah.
it just like it felt like they weren't even connected with what they were talking
going
about.
Yeah.
anywhere.
Well, the thing with the atheist characters is that it's funny in that having watched and seen a lot of atheist material, I recognized all of the atheist buzz phrases they kept pulling out, like we're a free thinker, like free from oppressive. Like I could see where they were getting all those phrases, but they didn't include any of the reasons why atheists say those. So it was just empty rhetoric.
Yeah.
The atheists in the movie were never portrayed as actually having a reason
Yeah.
to dislike Christianity.
They didn't have any reason. There is one positive I will say about God's Not Dead 1. And that the atheists in the first movie at least had a reason to hate Christianity. And in this movie, the atheists, every single one of them, had no reason. Even the evil devil lawyer, who was just like, I hate what your people stand for, or whatever, something along those lines. And I'm just like, what do we stand for that you hate? Like he didn't even elaborate.
Yeah, I was waiting for that. Like, oh, my mom died when I was 8 or something.
Yeah.
That
I would have
never
just been like,
happened.
not another one, please.
I cannot say now. I know that Say Goodnight Kevin has done some talking about this.
Yeah.
And one thing that he doesn't like, which I think I would slightly disagree with him on, is say that this is that the entire situation is completely unrealistic. I'd have to say that them making this movie is not without basis. Like even Catholics right now, the Little Sisters of the Poor, are fighting in the Supreme Court.
Yes.
There have been situations. I specifically know of a professor or a doctor who he was known as I believe he was known as the free speech kid, and it was a national a few decades ago, and this school didn't want to let him specifically say the name of Jesus in his commencement speech. I know this guy as well, but anyway, so I can't say these things are completely without basis. I liked at the end of the credits. I don't know if you've checked in on if they were true, and how many of them were true or not. But
well, I mean,
I
they
did like
were
how they
all
provided the cases.
true. Okay, so I mean,
Yeah, I didn't even stay for the credits at the end. So what?
okay, yeah. Oh, you missed the post-credits scene.
I did. So I don't know what happened. I was. Yeah.
And Nick
It's
Fury
just,
showed
it's
up.
actually, it's weird. It's the first time I've ever seen a post-credit scene included in a trailer for a movie. It's the scene where the pastor guy gets arrested because he didn't turn in his, he didn't turn in his sermons. And actually, yeah, so a big thing with the first movie, and again with the second movie, is when atheists and secularists are criticizing these movies, they say the situations in them are unrealistic. And so they try to make a big deal about, in the second one, that this is based off of real life stuff. And specifically, like the turning in of the sermons was something that happened in a local Houston area where the pastors were actually asked to hand in their sermons. But in a lot of these situations, it's very important to have the context. So the context of that situation was there was some sort of bill or about some homosexuality law rights thing, and there were supposedly some pastors talking about that bill directly and encouraging sign-up sheets to vote against it. And that's very tricky. The laws about nonprofit organizations advocating for political stuff. So they asked the pastors to submit their sermons to make sure they weren't saying stuff that was directly about elections. But they didn't end up doing that because there was a commotion raised about that, and they decided against it. And then there's the issue of all the court cases that were listed at the end of the film. So at the credits, they list about like 30, 40 or so court cases that say, these are the cases that inspired this film. And I look at them and they can basically be broken into several categories. There is a category of people who didn't want to perform a service. It was like always for a homosexual couple. It's basically a bunch of cases like the gay wedding cake one, and they got sued for that. And then the other category is stuff about the contraception HHS mandate of Little Sisters of the Poor, as you mentioned, and other people who didn't want to do it. There was another example of some fire crew chief who wrote a book about God and then was passing it out during work hours, which to clients, which you probably shouldn't do that.
Okay.
But I mean, those are the basic two categories. There was nothing that was explicitly about, like an example you said, of not being allowed to say the name Jesus in a classroom setting.
Yeah.
And that's where I think it sort of fell flat. Because, contraception issues, that's a big issue about healthcare, but it's a completely different one.
True, that's true. I mean, like even the person that I know that went through this was, first off, it wasn't the law that was persecuted, it was the school, and then the law got the school in trouble for not allowing him to say this. But the thing I was saying that had some that it wasn't completely unrealistic was that the school had a problem with it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's something that it's there are also people trying to take God out of schools on a general basis. Just as far as the law goes,
Yeah.
it's the HH judgment.
As far as like the name of Jesus, though, I don't know. I mean, in history class, when I was in 7th, 8th grade at a secular high school, we had sections in history where we went over the origins of Christianity, the origins of Islam, because it's real religion.
It's a huge part of what society was.
Yeah,
exactly.
It
You see, that's why like they came to like with the news segment where they were like saying, talking about faith is illegal or something like that, and I was just like, no, that's not true.
Yeah.
It's okay to talk about it. It's not okay to like basically go in people's faces, be like, I am Christian, believe in God and that kind of stuff. You see, that's when people are really turned off about the whole thing. This is basically going to be my last big comment about the movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this kind of has to go back to the whole atheist and stuff like that. And I just had so many issues with the fact that the atheists in these movies were basically portrayed as these supervillain atheists. So I actually went and I looked up a quote by C.S. Lewis.
Oh.
I think that every prayer which is sincerely made to a false God or to a very imperfectly conceived God is accepted by the true God, and that Christ saves many who do not think they know him. For he is present in the good side of the inferior teachers they follow. In the parable of the sheep and the goats, those who are saved do not seem to know that they have served Christ. You see, the problem I had with it is that I do not believe in the concept that all roads lead to God. I do not believe in that. But I do believe that it is possible to a certain extent that if you are a good person and you're not a Christian from any religion, or if you're an atheist, that it is possible for you to get to heaven, or at least in some case, or of course we believe in purgatory as well, or you can get to purgatory and have the cleansing redemption to get into heaven.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, because like in scripture it says love covers a multitude of sins. Like if there is a change of heart in a person, like we don't know how God is going to judge them, but yes, the Catholic Church can't say they are going to heaven, like they have salvation.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not our teaching, but there is like the baptism of blood too, or where they come to realize that there is God. But
exactly.
Yeah, there are, as far as
Not
church
according
teaching
to
on who
teaching.
goes to heaven, you can't say for certain with a lot of people. You can say probably, very much probably. Like somebody could, this is an example I always bring up, somebody could be really holy, really devout from almost their entire lives, and then say they are not able to talk at the moment of their death.
Right.
And that's when Satan's coming after you most, and they cave in.
Right.
They might not end up in heaven. There's a possibility. But it goes the same way the other way around. Somebody could be really, really terrible for most of their lives, and then the last second when they can't talk to anybody, they want to repent of their wrongdoings.
Right.
So that's why you can never say for absolute certain somebody's in heaven, somebody's
Exactly.
in hell.
exactly, that's why it's
However,
not the teaching of the church to say.
at the same time, say going along the lines of it's possible for other people to be saved, it also has a huge impact on how much they know or how much they had the ability
Yes,
to
it
know.
is true.
So
Yeah.
many atheists, it's just a matter of a point I like to bring is like, oh well, like everybody knows about Christianity. Do they really know about
Yeah,
Christianity?
exactly.
That's the thing. Do they know about Christianity, or do they know of something that's been so twisted and so made to look like something completely different than what actual Catholicism is? Sorry, what actual Catholicism is that.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh, well, if that's what that is, then I'm not going to be a part of it. Yeah, because that's not exactly what. So maybe that makes it possible.
All right.
At the same time, do they have the opportunity? How much do they have the opportunity? To
Exactly.
actually know?
And
That's why we can't say. We can say you might be able to get to heaven.
Yeah.
But
But we're not basing the church
I
teaching on that, 'cause
no,
it is
no.
completely
I
absurd.
can't say for
Right,
sure.
right.
And actually, because you are not part of the church, I'd say probably not. Even though there's a possibility, that would mean if there's any chance that somebody's not going to heaven, it's very important to evangelize.
Exactly.
That.
Yes.
Yep.
And
All right, so-
kind of going off of your comment about like do they truly know about Christianity? Once again, Last Battle, my favorite book by C.S. Lewis. The Good Calorman. He did know of the good people. He did know about the Narnians and whatnot. But throughout his entire life, he was always like, they are evil. They are bad. They are an abomination to this world, and we truly are the good guys. And obviously, the good Calorman's life wasn't exactly truly like touched on and stuff like that. But in the last moments of his life before he enters the barn where Tash and Aslan are, he truly gives this moment of like, you know, of goodness and whatnot. That he truly was not like the normal Calorman, basically. And which is probably like one of the big saving graces of how he got into Aslan's country.
I see. So the reason these quotes came to you is because of
the
atheists and like other people who weren't Christians being portrayed as just
like
bad and negative all the time.
Exactly.
So and you're like, no, that's not true. You know, like people. People are good.
Exactly, they are.
And just that they exist, people are good.
Exactly.
You are good just that you exist.
Mm-hmm.
Now, make you seem
my big problem was that they just made the atheists into like these awful people, and I'm just like, I'm sorry, it's not
atheist friends, like it's
I do
not
exactly. I have some atheist friends who are really good people, and I'm just like, I'm sorry, I cannot be okay with this movie, and that is actually the thing which made me the most disappointed in the movie.
Another thing that I was interested in this movie going in was how they were going to handle the theological, philosophical, historical debates. Because I think that was one of the problems with the first movie is that they went in very, very shallow examination of a lot of the theological and cosmological arguments for the existence of God. In this one, the issue was whether Jesus was a real person or not. And I know in the panel discussion, I was interested, are they going to do this? Because I was just... I was
not going to convert anybody.
Well, I was just cracking up when all the Christian apologists just coming in. It's like, all right, we're flying in all these Christian apologists from across the country into this court case. And they're all playing themselves. It was like, it's Lee Strobel.
I didn't know they were... Oh.
Yeah, those were real people.
I was thinking, like, wouldn't that be cool if they were actually the real
people? No, they were all the real people.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Lee Strobel wrote the case
I was
for
actually
Christ.
a little bit impressed by that.
Yeah, no, it was fun. I mean... Lee Strobel's whole spiel, where he was talking about there's an academic consensus that Jesus Christ existed. Yeah. He's right. And, I mean, one of the things about Christ myth theories is that although they have very little academic support, they're actually pretty popular in secular atheist communities online. They're discussed a lot online, so it was actually a legitimate issue to bring up. Yeah. I was just hoping there would actually be some arguments back and forth about some stuff from Christ myth theories. Like, I think, have you all seen the video Horace Ruins Christmas?
Yeah.
Which is a classic. I was expecting something like that to be pulled up, and they didn't go there, unfortunately. As regard for the other guy, James Warner Wallace, I actually hadn't heard of him. Apparently he wrote a book, Cold Case Christianity, which they plug in the movie. Of course. I'm sure they brought in all these guys who are like, hey, it's free promotion.
Yeah,
precisely.
No.
But he was going at it. He went into a lot more detail of actual examples in comparing the different testimonies, and they all cross-collaborate.
Yeah.
However, the issue with that is the three Gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, are all based off of sort of the same source of either Mark or Matthew, depending on which system you think was written first. It was based off a testimony from the Apostle Peter, and then the Gospel of John is based off of a testimony from the Apostle John. So there's really only two. And so the comparison between, I think, the Gospel of Luke and the Gospel of Mark or Matthew, they're coming from the same source, is the view by a lot of scholars. So I don't know if that point was exactly valid. Again, a lot of this is speculative because we really don't know. A lot of it includes the Q document, which we don't even have. This is going off on a total tangent, and there's a lot of detail.
I've never heard of that one before.
Yeah. But yeah, there's so I'd have to research his argument more. It's interesting. Did you guys have any thoughts on those scenes?
I was kind of bummed because they seem to move things along too fast at some points and then drag things out at other points. Like getting to the court, they seem to move it along really, really fast.
Yeah.
Then once they got to the court, they really, really, really spaced it out. Like when we were commenting in the actual movie theater, they were going through and saying, oh, we need this really big idea that we can really make a sound case for, and I'm just like,
but until we get that idea, we have to do all these little things.
It's just like we're just like do that, and then finally like, oh, I got an idea. Why don't we do that? I was like, yeah, that was a really simple thing to just think
Put
of.
her on the stand
it wasn't a big no. That was actually I had an issue with that.
You did?
No. The issue I had with that wasn't that it wasn't slightly clever to do that, but the fact that he forced her to say something that she thought was personal, which I didn't quite understand how it was super personal. But then at the same time, if it really was that personal, even if you win the court, I personally would have had a problem with my lawyer,
Yeah.
if he said something that I thought was really personal in a court case like that,
Yeah.
even if we won, I
They're
had a
like,
problem with
they're
that.
hiring you again.
But at least like that was one of the few times in the movie where I really saw like Protestantism and Christianity as something people really like live and die for. Like when she was really like saying that's personal,
Yeah.
like that's
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's
True.
It's what she's living for, and like that's really
But-
showed finally in that
Yeah.
last scene. I was like, there
Yeah,
we
true.
go. There's faith. Thank you.
True.
And,
I just like the problem I had with it
the
was
rest of
like
the movie.
afterwards she was just like, oh, it's okay, we won. It was just like, okay, yeah, you won, but if that was actually really personal,
Like, it
you
could've
wouldn't be
been,
that
or-
okay with
Yeah.
it. You wouldn't
Yeah.
be that okay with it.
Yeah.
Right.
I was gonna say one thing about the court scene. This was something we were commenting on. We were so disappointed. He didn't break his gavel.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. Yeah, he did.
Paid $10 and he never broke the
We were
gavel.
laughing about that shot in the trailer. I guess they must have cut it out of the final
Really?
film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. It's
Yep.
gone.
They didn't break it.
contempt of this court.
You are out of order. I charge you with contempt.
You know what? If I saw that scene, I would have been like, you know what? Yep, 5 out of 5 stars. Okay. Actually, no, I wouldn't have. No, I still wouldn't have, but still, I think it would have made the movie at least a bit more pleasurable.